Mhm. Hello there, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to our live Q&A today. It is just now 7 o'clock, so I will just we'll wait a couple more minutes for everybody to kind of get in, and so we can get started. I will start off with just some kind of information about myself. I'll let you guys get to know me a little bit, and then I'll tell you how we're gonna just be running this evening. So first of all, my name is Courtney Fallon. I'm a senior here at Missouri State. I'm studying socio-political communication. That's definitely a mouthful. It's an interdisciplinary program. Most of my coursework was in political science and communication. So that's a little bit of background there. Definitely feel free to ask me questions if you've got any about that. I am originally from Waterloo, Illinois. So if any of my fellow Monroe County people are here, welcome. Welcome to everybody, of course. Waterloo is just outside St. Louis, so I'm also familiar with that area. So I'm excited to have you all here. A couple more things just about me, my involvement on campus. I was in a number of student organizations. The one that I was most involved in was University Ambassadors. So I was able to give tours of campus as my time as an ambassador. So I'm really excited to be able to connect with you guys even more virtually here. In addition to being in a couple of other student organizations, I am also a student employee. I worked in 2 different offices on campus, one of them being the Office of Admissions. So I'm really grateful to them for letting me take over their live stream this evening to answer some of your questions. So that's a little bit about me. Feel free to, if you have any other questions about my experience, my major, anything like that, please feel free to let me know. I did want to kind of give you some information about how this will work this evening and just give you some general info from about kind of how things are going at the university right now. So before I dive in, I wanted to just let you guys know that I'm not a full-time admissions staff member. So I definitely want to get to all of your questions as best as I can. But if I, if I might not answer yours, it might be because I don't have all of the information for you. But we do have moderators in our chat that will be able to provide you guys with some information so that you can follow up on that on your own if you'd like to do that. So our moderators are going to have, they're going to be in blue. That's the names of people in the chat. There's already a couple of them in there. They have a little wrench next to their name as well. So if I mention a specific resource on campus, or if there's something that I might refer you to, if I can't answer your question, then they'll be able to give you that information there. I wanted to let you know about, before we get started, our main Missouri State website does have so I encourage you to check the particular admissions email. I'll ask our moderators to drop that down below as well. So that will just be admissions at Missouri State. They check that every single business day. So hopefully if you have a more one-on-one question, they'll be able to answer you there. So I think that's all I have in terms of kind of setting up what this evening is going to look like. I am really happy to get some of your questions answered. So if you have particular questions about student life, what is life like in the residence halls? What's the dining hall food like? I'm really happy to answer any of those questions with regards to student life. So feel free to ask me some of those. So if you see me pause and check the chat, I promise I'm still engaged with you guys. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing any questions. So on that note, we can go ahead and get started with some of your questions about what it's like to be a student at Missouri State. So let me just check and update the chat here. So Jada Walker, welcome to the chat. She asks, how is your track and field team? We actually have a pretty fantastic track and field team. I encourage you to check them out on social media and on our website. We actually just got a couple of new coaches, I think, that I'm aware of. One of them is Coach Jet, who is an Olympic runner. She's fantastic. We're super excited to have her. But I personally am not an athlete, so I don't have personal experience regarding track and field, but I do know that they perform very well every season, and we're excited to have some new coaching staff there. So definitely go check them out on social media and our website. Rachel Weaver asks, what is Move-In Weekend like? So Move-In Weekend is super, super fun. On our campus, we call it Welcome Weekend. That's just a whole weekend where we have your scheduled move-in date to your residence hall. We actually have a whole set of volunteer students to help you move in. That's called Bear Crew. So I know that a ton of student organizations like to go out and volunteer over that weekend. You basically take your stuff right into your residence hall, and they pick it up and take it to your room for you. I know that that was something that I really, really was excited about when I got here, because then you don't have to worry about, you're moving all of your stuff in by yourself by any means. You have a team of volunteers. There's hundreds of students every year that participate in Bear Crew, and they're able to help you. Welcome Weekend also has a ton of awesome events for you and your family. If you have if your family sticks around for that weekend to kind of help you get acclimated, there's tons of different things that they do, different activities throughout that weekend. So it's really, really fun. I really enjoy it. And I actually have volunteered for Bear Crew a couple times myself, and it's super, super fun. So we try to do the best to help that go smoothly for you and just be a really exciting weekend. Mary Human asks, how big is campus and did you get to classes on time? So our campus is actually pretty compact. We definitely have a lot of different things going on campus, a lot of buildings, but it all is kind of in one concentrated area. So if you kind of took everything out of the middle of campus, it's actually kind of a big square. Right through the center of campus, it's all very pedestrian friendly. You're not going to be trying to cross any major thoroughfares or anything like that. Super, super easy to get around on campus. From one end to the other, our campus is only about a 15-minute walk at max. And the residence hall that I lived in my first year was actually on the one end of campus, and some of my classes were on the other. And I was able to make it every single day under that 15-minute mark. So it's super, super easy to get from one building to the other throughout the day. I love our campus for that reason. That way, if you live on campus, you don't have to, you don't have to worry about being late to your classes. You can pretty much just roll out of bed and get there in a few minutes. So definitely very manageable. And I love our campus. It's very pretty. Definitely check out our virtual tour if you are interested in seeing what that kind of looks like while we're all away during this pandemic. Glory N asks, what is your major? My major is sociopolitical communication. As I kind of talked about towards the beginning, I can explain again. My major is very interdisciplinary, so most of my coursework was in both communication and political science. So I thought that was a super great way for me to combine some of my interests. And we have a lot of majors on campus that allow you to do that with either major and minor combinations, or if you find a major and you have a particular interest in that field, like a focus, there's lots of ways to do that. So my major is a great example of that. Sam Michael asks, if you're not majoring in theater, is there still a way to audition for the shows? So Sam, I'm not entirely sure about how all of that works. I'm not a theater major myself. I would definitely recommend that you reach out to theater and dance if you have some questions. As far as I know, I think that a lot of their shows are for the students in the program, but I'm sure that there's still lots of ways to get involved if you wanted to. So definitely reach out to them if you have some more questions that I'm not entirely sure. Okay, Jada, looks like you're getting some great information about the track and field team. So I see that you're talking with Kirsty a little bit, so definitely get some of those details about meeting with coaches and stuff like that. But I will move on to another question here. Abigail Danielson asks, how are the professors? So I personally love all of the faculty that I've encountered on campus. Our campus is very notorious for having just really awesome and engaged professors on campus. Even the ones that I didn't, even the professors that I had outside of my major, I just really enjoyed interacting with. They all really focus on student engagement, and they're all really kind if you wanted to go up and get to know them a little bit. Even in some of our bigger classes, they're still focused on keeping you engaged and stuff like that. I personally, some of my best relationships on the university campus have been with my professors and with my advisor. So my advisor, who I also took some classes from, she knitted me a hat for one of my birthdays. So if that tells you anything about the personal connections that you can have on campus, that is definitely what my experiences have been. So thank you for your question. Okay, Rachel Weaver asks, are room assignments at the end of May or beginning? Also, did you like your first dorm room? So Rachel, I'm not entirely sure about what the room assignment schedule is. Obviously, things are a little bit different with the pandemic, so I would definitely refer you to residence life and dining. So if you have some questions, they should have some answers for you on that page, and they should be communicating with you through that process. So if you haven't checked your email in a while, you might want to do that if they've updated you, if you've applied for your housing and stuff like that. So that might be a little bit different than a normal schedule. So definitely check with them and make sure that that you're updated on that schedule. But to the question, did you like your first dorm room? So I lived in Hutchins House, which is a 4-person residence hall on our campus. I really enjoyed being in that room. I personally liked having a little bit of the privacy that a suite style gives. I did have to clean my own bathroom, which there were some days where that may have been a great perk of living in a community style residence hall. But my whole experience in Hutchins was really, really awesome. I really enjoyed my time there. I had 3 other roommates, and we were all completely random. So if you have questions about what that experience is like, let me know. But I'll just stick to your question about the room. I really enjoyed having that ability to kind of balance some private space with some ability to engage with my suite mates and other people on my floor. So I really, really liked Hutchins. It was awesome. But I have friends that have lived in all of the different residence halls on campus. So I'm a little bit biased there. All of our residence halls are great, and I've heard positive experiences from all of them. So sorry, I'm making sure I'm caught up in the chat here. Okay, DeFranza Bell again asks, how are the dorms? I can elaborate on that a little bit more because I just kind of talked about my experience. I've been in, as a tour guide, I have been in all of the different residence halls, and I think that there really is something for everyone. Obviously every person is gonna like the exact same kind of residence hall, but I definitely think that there are options that work for every student's needs. We have a variety of both suite and community style residence halls. So there's a lot of different things about each one that make them unique. And I, like I said, I've had a lot of friends that have lived in all of them, and they each definitely have their different strengths, their different characteristics. And I think that if you find the one that fits your needs, I think that you'll have a positive experience there. Mary Human asks, is campus dog friendly? So I can kind of answer this in a couple of different ways. I can kind of talk about the general campus and then probably about residence halls, because I'm not sure exactly I want to make sure that I answer your question whichever way that you were kind of talking about it. So the campus itself, so if you're wanting to, if you have a friend that wants to bring their dog to campus to visit, there are lots of different dogs that I've seen throughout campus, especially on when we have some outdoor events. I know that a lot of my friends that live off campus like to bring their pets. And so you can absolutely bring your pet for a walk on campus. Now, if you're wanting to have a pet in the residence halls, that's going to be a little bit different. As of right now, I don't believe that you can have just a pet in the residence halls if it's like a dog or a cat. I think there are some pets that you can have, like I think fish, that don't have to have a certification. But for you to have a pet with you in a residence hall, it does either have to be an emotional support animal or a service animal. As far as I know, I would definitely refer you to Residence Life to verify their specific regulations about having pets in the residence halls. But in terms of being, out and about on campus, I definitely see dogs pretty regularly. But definitely check for, if you're interested in living in the residence halls with a pet, I would definitely refer you to Residence Life to check out their policies on that. Rachel Weaver asks, what organizations have you been a part of? So I have been a part of a lot of different organizations on campus. I already mentioned one a little bit earlier, but I can revisit that. I was a university ambassador on our campus, which is a tour guide. So if any of you have visited our campus in person before, or you're planning maybe a future visit once everything gets back to normal, we are the campus tour guides. So I was also on the executive board of that organization. We're actually student run, which I think is very, very cool. So that's definitely the one that I say I was most involved with, since I did have a leadership role. And I really, really enjoyed it. It just really allowed me to share my love of the campus and also gain some professional and leadership skills outside the classroom on our campus. So I really enjoyed that one. I was also a member of a sorority on campus. So if you have questions about what fraternity and sorority life is like, I'd be happy to share my insight on that. And then I was also a member of Model United Nations for the last couple of years. So if any of you have seen Parks and Recreation, you guys know the episode that I'm talking about, where the characters go to a high school Model United Nations. It's not exactly like that, but that's what everybody always references when I talk about being involved in that program. So, but that was a really cool experience. That was a little bit of a smaller organization. So I've kind of been in organizations of all different sizes. So that one had about 20 people. My sorority was around 100. And then university ambassadors, there's been times where we've been up to 150 people. So I've kind of gotten to experience the different ones at each size, and there's tons of different organizations you can get involved in. And you can be in more than one. I definitely did. So if you have some interests that carry over from high school that you want to keep up with, definitely check out our organizations. The Office of Student Engagement has lots of great resources for you to do some research on those. So that's the abbreviation for that is the OSE. So if you are, looking for that online, that definitely check that out there. So yeah. Bonetta says, I'm loving seeing part of campus. I miss it. I miss campus too. I definitely am glad to be back. But if you guys who have not visited campus before are interested to see what it's like, we do have a virtual tour. So I'll ask one of our moderators to leave a link to that virtual tour in the chat. So definitely check that out. It's a really great resource for you to really kind of be immersed in campus without actually being here. So definitely check that out. I've definitely missed being on campus. I'm glad to be on for this evening. Okay, Guvanch Gariev asks, right now okay. Sorry, I think I lost my spot here. It skipped on me. Okay, Guvanch, it looks like you had a couple of questions about being a transfer student on campus. Definitely reach out to those resources that Kirsty and Courtney have been kind of working with you on. And if you have some questions, I'm not a transfer student personally, but I know that I have a lot of friends that are. So if you have some questions for me about kind of being a student on campus, I can definitely do that for you. Okay. And then it looks like we do have a couple of questions about completing your housing application. I would definitely encourage you guys to check your emails. I know that a lot of communications about the different changes that might be in effect in terms of housing due to the coronavirus might have been dropped in your email. So be sure that you're always checking the email that you provided us with to make sure that you're up to date on that. And then also if you have some additional questions about either your application or housing, the resources for that, you can either talk to us with that admissions email that I mentioned. I think it looks like Courtney has also dropped that there as well. But also Residence Life and Dining, if you pull up their information, if you search them on our website as well, they should be able to answer your questions about your specific situation in terms of housing in your application. And then Eva Bircher asks, does Missouri State offer intramural soccer? So I believe the answer to that question is yes. I do not know. I've not personally participated in intramural soccer, but Missouri State has a variety of club and intramural sports. I can kind of explain the difference between those. That if you are looking for like a specific team, whether or not we have that, definitely check out our Recreation Center's website. They should have some information for you there. But we do have club sports, which you can sign up for as an individual, or if you have like a group of friends that want to sign up to join a team, you can definitely do that. I would assume that we would have soccer, but I would encourage you to check that out because I'm personally not entirely sure since I haven't done it. So I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. But my assumption would be that we do. And then intramural sports are generally I think they're more related to existing organizations on campus. So let's say that you're in a fraternity or a sorority and they want to register a team. I think that's kind of what the difference between intramural and club sports there on our campus. But I would definitely refer you to our Recreation Center's website to kind of get some more details about that. Okay. Mary Human asks, on the first day of classes, will teachers or students help to get you to your classes okay? I would definitely say yes. I have kind of a personal story about this. During my first week on campus, I got completely lost before one of my classes. And I definitely was that person that had to ask for help on my way. And everybody is super, super friendly on campus. I honestly, that's one of the first things I noticed when I was visiting and making my college decision was that everybody is super, super friendly and welcoming. So I was that person on that first day of classes. I definitely got lost a little bit there. So yes, there will be helpful people that will direct you in the right way. And I definitely had to do that. So, all right, just making sure that I am caught up here. Okay, Eva Bircher asks, how big are the class sizes? This is a great question. So that's definitely something that I was personally concerned with. My hometown is only about 10,000 people, and Missouri State's student body is around 2.5 times the size of that of my hometown. So I was definitely worried about, being in, classes that I wasn't used to. So I was worried about, those bigger class sizes. And to be honest, the majority of your classes that you'll have at Missouri State, at least in my experience, are going to be a lot smaller than you might have pictured. It might be something similar to what you may have experienced in high school, or if you've been going to a community college. I'd only actually had one big lecture class my entire time here at Missouri State. Granted, that will depend on what your major is and what general education courses you choose. But for the most part, I would say that that's pretty consistent. I think most people only have a couple throughout their college experience. As soon as you definitely start getting into your major, those classes shrink a lot. So it's definitely not as bad as I first thought, because I knew that Missouri State was a large state school, so I was worried about that myself. But in my experience, most of my classes have been relatively small. And some of mine, even in the past couple semesters, I've only had 10 or 15 people because it was so specific to my major. And so definitely when it matters, you definitely have that personal connection in those smaller classes for sure. Okay, and then Angela V asks, what did SOAR look like for you, and what are some of the changes because of the pandemic? So that's a great question. So I did go to an in-person SOAR session over 2 days, so I did spend the night on campus. I know that that's going to be a little bit different for some of you guys because of the pandemic. To my knowledge, they are providing some virtual and one-day options for you, but definitely be checking the website. I believe it's New Student and Family Programs, and also admissions will have some knowledge on that as well. But be checking up with those updates in terms of what SOAR will look like, because obviously, I'm sure as all of you know, the situation definitely changes every single week. So it could be different in a couple weeks, or they might be able to go as what their plan was. So definitely check that out. But I really enjoyed SOAR. I hope that you guys still get to at least be able to experience that either virtually or if you do a one-day session. Some of my best friends that I still have to this day were from SOAR. So I definitely had a great experience and was able to connect with students pretty early on. So definitely be checking with them for updates, because I would hope that you guys still get to be connected in some way. So I really enjoyed it. Sorry about that, making sure that I am caught up. Okay, Guvansh had, I think, another question about international students and scholarships and everything. So definitely our admissions staff will be able to put you in touch with the right person if you have specific questions about what your application experience is like and what that looks like for you. So definitely ask them. I am not a full-time staff member, so I can't answer that question for you, but they should be providing you with some resources to help you out there. Okay. Matt Magruder asks, I'm curious to know, what has been the hardest part of going to college during COVID-19? So obviously a lot has changed about our campus. I'm sure as some of you have experienced yourselves, things are moving online a lot. I personally really miss just being able to interact with my fellow students on campus. With the coursework is definitely has been different, but I personally think that, with the professors being able to work with their individual classes, it's been doable, but I just really miss being able to see everybody on campus. I really enjoy, stopping into our student union and seeing a bunch of my friends immediately, or just passing people on a daily basis that I know. So that's definitely been the hardest part for me. I'm sure a lot of our students would agree, but I know that Missouri State has done its best to help support our students during this time, and that definitely includes some of our professors as well. So they should be having, a lot of my friends have told me about what their kind of class experiences have been like and what mine have been like. And overall, it seems that professors are doing a really good job at just making sure that we're staying connected and doing our coursework in a way that's helpful for us during the pandemic. So I am definitely... I am missing just being able to see everybody. Okay, Christine J asks, where am I from in Illinois? Welcome, my fellow Illinoisan. I am originally from Waterloo, Illinois, which is right outside St. Louis. It's in Southwest Illinois. So I'm excited that you guys are here. I can maybe talk a little bit about my experience as an out-of-state student, if you'd like to hear that from me too, as we're getting some information from some of our moderators in the chat. So Missouri State, the last time I think I checked, Missouri State is actually composed of about 10% out-of-state students. So I'm one of those people. I'm originally from Illinois, so I'm an out-of-state student. So Missouri State does a lot to support its out-of-state students. I was actually able to qualify for an out-of-state fee waiver. So definitely, if you have some questions about whether or not you might qualify for that, please check it out, because that's something that really caught my eye early on about Missouri State. So I've paid in-state tuition all 4 years, even though I am an out-of-state student. So I have had a little bit of a different experience than maybe some of the Missouri students that we might have in the chat. But I have really enjoyed being here. It's actually only about a 3-hour drive from home. But I've, been able to stay well supported with that fee waiver. And I also have a couple of scholarships. So definitely work with our admissions staff and financial aid to figure out if you qualify for some of those. Because that's honestly what I found really helpful about and helping me make my decision. And then Eva Bercher asks, where do you find information about that out-of-state fee waiver? Kirsty Hunter, one of our moderators, looks like she dropped a link to our chat about that out-of-state fee waiver, and definitely email them if you have any questions about that. So yeah, we can definitely see. I'm making sure I'm not missing anybody. So yeah, it looks like we have some, we're getting some information to you guys, so I want to make sure that is all doing well. Okay, Sean Clethermes asked me, what made you choose Missouri State and what made you stay? So I actually really love this question. As I kind of mentioned earlier, something that I noticed early on about Missouri State was how many great opportunities that they had in terms of being supported as a college student. So for me, some of those fee waivers and those scholarships were really what caught my attention about Missouri State. I also really liked the distance from my hometown. I think that it's a perfect amount of time away from my hometown, but I can still drive home. It's only about a 3-hour drive, even though I'm from out of state. So it was really, really nice. And so some of those things kind of caught my eye initially. But what's made me stay at Missouri State has definitely just been the community. I really enjoy the campus community. Everyone is super supportive. I've been able to get to know a lot of really great people just through my classes and through work and through being involved in different student organizations. So just the welcoming environment, and Missouri State really has a student-first mindset about a lot of their programs and policies. So I've never felt like, I was just being sold something, but that everyone here was very, very genuine about their love for the campus and about the things that they can provide for us. So I've absolutely enjoyed my time here, and I'm actually, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but I will be staying here at Missouri State to do my master's. So I'll be here for the next 2 years. And so I'm excited to continue my education as a Bear. So if that shows you anything about how much I love the campus and the people here, hopefully that'll speak for me as well. DJ Beat Reviews asks, how is the surrounding town? So I actually really, really love the Springfield community. If you don't know, we are located in Springfield, Missouri. So we're in Southwest Missouri. Springfield is actually the 3rd largest city in the state of Missouri. So there's so much to the city that I just really, really love. I enjoy a couple of the different places in the area called Commercial Street and our downtown area. We have a lot of really cool, unique small businesses around here, and some restaurants that I really, really love. And I also am a big coffee drinker, so we have a lot of really cool coffee shops. Springfield is just such a unique place to be, and I really, really love the town. It's definitely it was a good transition for me, kind of coming from a small town. It's definitely a city. It definitely is. I don't know the exact population, but it's a decent sized city, but it's not super huge to where I feel like I'm lost all the time. I was actually able to figure out the city pretty well early on. So I really love this. I really like being in Springfield. So let me make sure I'm not missing. Okay, Cynthia A asks, what type of computer would you recommend for incoming students? So I think that, really whatever the student has access to and what their preference is great. I personally liked having kind of a smaller device. So I do have a MacBook myself, and it's a little bit smaller. I know that was really helpful for me to carry around campus. So definitely something that's a little bit more mobile, but I don't think, necessarily the brand matters per se. So like, I know that our systems and our internet and all of that support all different types of devices. And we actually have a few computer labs on campus that have both Macs and PCs. So I think that whatever the student is used to using and comfortable using, definitely get that. But I would recommend looking for something that's easy to carry, because if they're hauling that around campus, they don't, if they have to carry around books and stuff like that, that's what I would recommend looking for. Okay, Sean Clethermes asks, how is the food on campus? I actually really, really miss eating on campus. That's one of the things that I miss most about living in the residence halls. We have a lot of really great dining facilities and some vendors in our student union. So we've got a lot of great options for our students. I really miss just being able to walk downstairs and have hot food ready for me. There's tons of variety. I definitely, I will still, even to this day, before everything was closed down, I would walk over every once in a while to the dining center and get a meal and pay for that with my own money. So I wasn't living on campus. I didn't have a meal plan. So I still will do that even if I don't have a meal plan. So if that tells you anything about how much I love the food, I definitely, I really enjoyed it. There's so many different great options. There was healthy options, and there was an ice cream machine in both of the dining halls that I ate at. So I definitely did splurge on some ice cream every once in a while. So that was really great too. Okay, Angela V asks, what are some things that you'd recommend for your dorm that aren't listed online? Oh, that's a great question. I don't know exactly what they've listed online. I haven't looked at that for a couple of years, but I would say definitely following that pretty close is usually what students will need on campus. I'm trying to think of anything that I had missed on my first round. Normally, when families move in, there's a notorious Walmart run, and you can usually on Welcome Weekend, the Walmarts that are nearby are usually pretty busy. I know my family went to Target and got me a couple of things. I'm trying to think of anything if I forgot anything off the top of my head. I would say definitely check out that list. I haven't lived in the residence halls for a while, so I'm sorry I don't remember off the top of my head anything that I forgot. But residence life can probably, if you have questions about what you can and can't bring, that kind of thing, definitely reach out to them. But I feel like what they have listed is usually pretty accurate to what students generally need from there. Oh yeah, Christine J. Yeah, the affordability is definitely a perk about Missouri State. It is quite a long drive from the Chicago area, but I do have friends that are from there, from that area. So it's definitely, you're getting a lot of value from what you end up paying at Missouri State for sure. Okay, Lydia B asks, what resources are there for LGBT students and students of color on campus? Yeah, so Missouri State's campus is welcoming to students from all backgrounds. Some specific resources that I know of on our campus are our Multicultural Resource Center. They are a section of campus that specifically encourages students to interact with students from all kinds of backgrounds to interact. The MRC is what we call it, and they also have, they're also home to a lot of our diversity and inclusion programs as well. So definitely check out their website online and see some of their specific resources. I actually they put on some volunteering. They organized some volunteering through their office to encourage students to interact with each other from different backgrounds. And I've actually gone on a couple of those. So they're a really great office to to work with. It's a safe space for all students from any backgrounds on campus to interact. And they also have free printing in that office. So definitely check them out online. Jada Walker asks, how is student life? Is everyone nice? Does everyone become family? So I personally have experienced so many really amazing people on our campus. I would say that the people that you end up interacting with and that you become friends with and stuff like that end up being like your family, I guess, your home away from home. We do have a pretty large campus. It's not super huge or anything, but you might not be able to get to know every single person that walks around campus, but you'll definitely be able to meet a lot of different people. And everybody is just super, super nice and super welcoming that I've experienced. Even if you sit next to somebody new in the dining hall and get a conversation and start up a conversation with them, most of the time they're usually very welcoming. So you definitely don't have to feel like you're alone or can't make friends or anything like that. There's lots of different ways to interact with other students on campus, and I've really enjoyed it here for that reason as well. Mary Human asks, what would be one thing that you would say an incoming student will definitely need? So this is actually particular to the Springfield area. I would say rain boots, which sounds a little strange. I definitely did not heed this morning when I first came to campus here. The way that Springfield is, like the geography is just very flat. So there are lots of large puddles on campus that in my hometown, I guess, is a little more hilly. So I could just wear regular shoes. But rain boots are a big thing that I would recommend. That's just, that's not necessarily something anybody can fix about Springfield. We're on a very large plateau here. So definitely bring some rain boots, because especially if you live in the residence halls and you're walking to class, that's a must that you definitely need to have. So I did not listen, and I ruined a couple of pairs of tennis shoes my first year, and I finally saved up and got some rain boots that I like. So that's definitely something that I would recommend. Sean Clethermes asks, what is Honors College? So I'm actually a member of the Honors College myself. I forgot to mention that earlier. I'm so sorry. So the Honors College is what I kind of consider a co-curricular program on our campus. So for students who qualify, you can either, I believe you can sign up before you come to campus, or I think after a couple of semesters, they have a policy on joining later on if you're already here and you want to join the Honors College. It's essentially a way for students who are really, really involved in their academic life to kind of take some courses that supplement that. So you can actually, there's some perks of being in the Honors College, like you can do some of your general education courses in smaller sections or specific honors sections of those. So you might, be able to eliminate some of those larger class sizes for your gen eds by taking some of the honors courses. But later on, after you're kind of done with your general education, you can choose from a couple of different classes that kind of help supplement your academic career. So for me, those classes were really, really helpful in doing the independent work that I needed to do to get into graduate school. So it's really, really good with working students and helping them develop their skills as an independent learner. So there's lots of ways for you to work one-on-one with those honors professors to do your coursework in a more individualized setting. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you're interested. I've really enjoyed it. I've done all the coursework for it, and it's really, really great. I really enjoyed it. Jada Walker asks, is there a chance to have a tour around the college? So at this point, we are not having in-person visits because of the coronavirus pandemic. The university has pretty much shut down. There's still a few operations going on, but it's very, very limited. So we are unable to do campus visits at this time, just for your health and safety. But definitely keep an eye out on our website for when we start scheduling those again. And please feel free to check out our virtual tour. I know that that's maybe been in the chat a couple of times, but if one of our moderators wouldn't mind putting that back in the chat, please feel free to check out our virtual tour. That's a really, really great way to kind of be immersed on campus without actually being here. But if you're also close by the campus, if you wanted to, walk around yourself, I know it's not the greatest way ever, and obviously not every student's going to be able to do that, but I still kind of take walks on campus while obviously following social distancing rules. So if you're around, you may, it's not completely shut off from the public or anything. So if you are, I would encourage, if you wanted to take a walk or, maybe drive by the campus, that's also a good alternative. But definitely the safest way is to check out our virtual tour, and then keep watching our website for when we might be scheduling some in-person visits again. Gloria N asks, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to freshman you? Ooh, that is a really, really great question. Thank you so much. So I think that something that I was really timid about coming to campus was I was just not really, I was really scared to kind of get involved early on, because I know that for a lot of people, I'm sure, have experienced this, but I definitely was, I was worried that I would get overwhelmed with my classwork coming in. And so I didn't really join a lot of things my first year. I really didn't get involved until my sophomore year. So I would say definitely don't be afraid to do that. I believe that, there's a lot of really great ways to get involved on campus that kind of keep you accountable with your coursework. There's not any student organizations that I think, impede on your coursework, or, they all put academics first. So I would say to freshman Courtney, don't be afraid to get involved, because I definitely missed out on some time in some of the organizations that I've really grown to love now. So I honestly became a lot more aware of like time management skills. Even like when I got more involved, because I don't know how that works. I'm sure a psychology student could probably explain that better. But I honestly felt I felt more able to kind of control my schedule, and just be on top of everything when I was more involved. So I would definitely say don't be afraid to do that. Okay, Glory N asks, so then is Honors College meant for those who intend to go to grad school? So the Honors College, I may have answered that in a misleading way. The Honors College is definitely not limited just to students who want to go to grad school. I think that it was helpful for me in my experience, but I have friends that have all completed their coursework in the Honors College, and just, gone into the field after graduating with their bachelor's. So there's definitely, I guess, maybe a way for me to explain that better is it's more individualized studies. So if that person, if a student is not interested in going to grad school, then they have a way to have a more one-on-one relationship with some professors and do some more independent work that will, really help them be a better, I guess, employee in the future, or if they just need to learn how to work independently a little bit better. Because that experience, if you're in a classroom, a lot of times you're emphasizing, collaboration with other students. So there's a lot of flexibility in the Honors College with what you can study and what you can do, and it really helps kind of you with your self-driven study. So it definitely is not limited to just people who want to go to graduate school, but it definitely helped me in terms of my my helping me go forward with my education that way. Okay, Jada Walker asks, is this college fun? Besides the schoolwork, is this college a good fit for you? Do you enjoy it? So I would say that being at Missouri State has been one of the most fun experiences that I've ever had. We have tons of really great, not only are, extracurricular organizations, but we also have activities on campus that are for the whole campus. Like I mentioned, Welcome Weekend is a campus-wide celebration of welcoming our students back to campus. We have a lot of students go out for our football games and things like that. So there's just a lot of ways that students are able to be engaged with the campus community. And so I've absolutely had so much fun. Some of my best memories are from hanging out with my friends at a football game, or being involved with other students in the residence halls. I've really enjoyed it. I still love this campus to this day. I cannot believe that 4 years have already flown by. And I'm excited to be on campus in a little bit of a different capacity in the next couple of years. But I've absolutely enjoyed my experience. It's been so fun. Ashlyn Staton asks, what are the sororities like? So we have a lot of really awesome fraternities and sororities on our campus. If you are looking for them online, the governing organization for those is called Fraternity and Sorority Life, or FSL. So definitely check out some of their social media and stuff to see kind of what those look like. We have a lot of students that are involved in sororities and fraternities. They're just a really great way to meet a lot of friends and be involved on our campus. We also have some FSL-wide events that happen every semester. So FSL, in addition to our other student organizations, are all really involved during homecoming. And then we also have Greek Week in the spring that happens as well. So those are really great ways to get engaged with campus and to meet a lot of new friends. I really loved having a support system. It was, again, I hate to use this phrase too much, but they were definitely my home away from home. So it's definitely a great way to have a support system early on. Kaylee Johnson asks, can you bring a Roku stick to the dorm? So I believe Kirsty answered that a little bit for you. You will have Wi-Fi access, and you can bring your various TV accessories. I know that there are also some streaming services that you can get access to. I'm not entirely sure what all those are, but definitely check out Residence Life and Dining's website, so that way you can check out what all of the available streaming services there are for you already. But I think whatever accessories you have for your TV should be okay as well. Okay, Jada Walker asks, how is your dorm room? Is it big? Does it work for you? And how is your dorm room partner? So I have not lived in the residence halls for a couple of years. I actually live off campus now. But during my first year when I was living on campus, I really enjoyed my campus experience living in the residence hall. I was in Hutchins House, and we definitely had plenty of space in our room. I really, really loved my roommate. She was, I actually did completely random roommates, so I didn't know her before we moved in. And we ended up having a really fun relationship. She was actually a sophomore, so she was kind of a guiding force for me. It was nice to live with somebody that had already experienced campus life. I lived in a suite, so I also had two other roommates as well. And then I think we were divided. We were two freshmen and two sophomores. So it was cool to have somebody with me that was also going through the same experience, but then having some older students with us as well was really nice. They were really helpful in terms to allowing me to get acclimated to campus. So Kaylee Johnson asks, do you know when the move-in day is and when classes start? So I think Kirsty let you know that move-in is currently set for Friday, August 14th, and the first day for Monday, August 17th. I would definitely keep checking with Residence Life in terms of move-in. I don't think they've changed anything right now in terms of the pandemic, but definitely keep checking your email, keep checking the website for updates in case that changes. I'm not aware of any changes right now, but that looks to be the set schedule right now. Brock Wade asks, are we still going to be doing in-person SOAR? I do believe that there are still some SOAR sessions that are going to be a little bit different because of the pandemic, but I would definitely check. They have some virtual and one-day SOAR sessions still, I believe, so definitely check those out online. Okay, Sean Clethermes asks, do you go to the sporting events? Yes, I absolutely love going to sporting events. It's something that I really miss about everybody being off campus. A couple of the things that I've gone to in the past are the hockey games. I really love, we have, I think, both a D1 and a D3 hockey team on our campus. And I've always been, my dad raised me on the St. Louis Blues. So I've always been a big hockey fan. Those are such fun games to go to. Then I go to the football games pretty regularly. I'm excited for football season to start up if everything is back to normal in the fall. I really enjoy going out to those games. And I was also somebody who is a marching band person in my past, so I enjoy also going out to those games for the band as well. And then Sean follows up saying, what is your favorite sport? I honestly think that we have a lot of really great sporting events that you can attend. My personal favorite is football, because I think that's when a lot of the campus comes out, and we have we have what's called Bear Fest Village before the games start, and you can really engage with other students on campus. They're really, really fun. So Gloria N asks, is it possible to live off campus freshman year, like having your own apartment? So as far as I know, you do have to live on campus your first year if you are not considered a transfer student. So definitely check out some of those those qualifications that you might need to have. But if you've completed less than a certain number of hours after high school, so not counting dual credit, then you will have to live on campus until you accumulate a certain number of hours. So if one of my moderators wouldn't mind clarifying some of that for me, dropping some information, please do. And then I believe if you live within a certain radius of the campus, so if you're from the Springfield or surrounding area, you might be exempt from that. So definitely check out some of those details. So yeah. Okay, Jada says, oh, I'm glad that you really like this school, debating between Missouri and Louisiana State, but this school is very nice from what I'm hearing. Yeah, so I'm excited that you're considering Missouri State. I personally have really loved this school, and good luck to you in your college search. Meg Putnam asks, when is it possible to access student emails? I believe that there's a way to set that online. I think I definitely check out some of our moderators' responses to you. I'm not full-time staff, so I might not have some of the exact questions that you might be looking for in terms of your personal application and what that looks like. I'm kind of here to answer some student life questions, so I'll definitely check out those responses. Okay, Kaylee Johnson asks, what is a popular club to join? So there are a lot of really great organizations to get involved in on campus. It really kind of depends on what your interests are. We have, I believe the last time that I heard, it was over 350 student organizations. So whatever you really are interested in doing, I definitely check those out. Some of the larger ones that I can think of off the top of my head, like I mentioned earlier, was fraternity and sorority life's pretty big. We also have student government organization on campus, and there's just a lot of ways to get involved that way if you'd like. So those are some of the ones that I kind of can think of. Also, university ambassadors. I'm a little biased there because I'm an ambassador. I'm a tour guide, so that's a really fun club to join. I really enjoyed that. But there's really anything. So if you just want a completely social club, or if you're interested in an academic club, there's a lot of things in between. So definitely check out the Office of Student Engagement. So I believe that we are planning to wrap up this live stream in just a few minutes here. So if you have any last minute questions, feel free to let me know. Go ahead and send in your final questions in the chat, and I'll try to get to them before we wrap up at 8 here. So I thank you guys so much for tuning in today. To my fellow seniors out there, I know that it might be kind of a tough time right now with the pandemic and everything, but I feel you. My senior year was also impacted by this. So definitely feel free to keep in contact with us. We still want to give you guys the best information that we can. I know that admissions is still doing some virtual visits, and they'll be answering questions over their email. And definitely check out a lot of our online stuff. I know that we have a very comprehensive website that will answer a lot of your questions, and our virtual tour is also really awesome. So check that out. And then I think the last question, we have a couple of last minute ones, so I'll go ahead and answer those real quick before 8. So Ashlyn Staten asked, did you know anyone else that was coming to the school your freshman year? So my high school didn't have a ton of students come to Missouri State my freshman year. I knew of a couple of people, but nobody that I ended up living with or anything. But as the years have gone on, I guess as more people have been coming here over the years, I actually know a lot of students, every single year kind of following when I graduated high school. I ended up having a lot of my younger friends ended up coming here as well. So even from my smaller high school, we had a lot of impact on students coming to Missouri State kind of as the years progress. So I definitely think that it is becoming a more popular choice, and from my alma mater particularly. And then Jada Walker asks, how's the teachers? Say if you're struggling in a subject, are they super helpful or is there tutoring available? Absolutely. So our professors are all very, very helpful. They all have to have scheduled office hours every single week. So they are sure to be available when you need them. So I personally have had a great experience with our professors. They really want to work with you and make sure that you're doing well. We also have a free tutoring service in our library called the Bear Claw. So that's completely free for you to use during their hours, and you can right up and go talk. You can go right up to them and talk to them about a subject you might be struggling with, or I know that we have kind of some on-call staff there. So I believe it's like our writing center and our math center that they always have someone there. So if you need a paper edited or something, you can go right up to them. And they also might have some access to some other tutors for you, even if you aren't able to meet one-on-one with them right away if it's like a more specific subject, but they are a really great resource if you need to find some extra help there. And also, like I mentioned earlier, if you need to use the writing center or the math center there. Kaylee asks, I was a cheerleader in my high school career. Is there any club that I can join to fulfill my cheerleading passion? I'm not sure exactly what clubs we have in terms of cheerleading that isn't like our official team. I know that there are a couple of dance groups that are not like, they are just student organized dance groups. So definitely check out some of those organizations on our OSC's website. So I'm making sure that I'm not missing any last minute questions, but it is 8. So we will probably be wrapping up pretty soon. Well, thank you guys for joining us this evening. I'm super excited. I was really glad to be able to talk to you guys. I know that it's been tough being distant, but everybody keep your head up. You guys are going to do great. And good luck, everybody, with your college search. Please feel free to reach out to our admissions staff if you have any further questions or anything that I didn't get to. But thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been great chatting with you guys. Bye-bye.